All right, GM, welcome to another Touchgrass podcast episode. I'm here with Naresh. Okay, so fun story about Naresh. He was actually KG's manager and mentor back in the day. I've looked up to Naresh. I got into the space. Naresh was always doing like amazing things. It's a privilege to be shooting with you now. Honestly, like it feels really wholesome looking back at my career. Like you were someone I used to look up to, and now we're friends. That's like an unbelievable feeling. Thanks so much for doing this with me, Naresh.
Thank you, Rachit. Like I've been watching this for a while. I've always wanted to do a podcast in general. Like
Yeah.
I be the host. But just watching you guys do it,
Yeah.
I would sort of live those moments.
Yeah.
I really appreciate me being on this space, and also at IBW where we've been doing these things. Yeah, I'm super excited about the
Awesome.
chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we're both head of global expansion now. Very congratulations on the recent promotion. I think the way that Aptos has led India expansion with you, like I saw what you were doing in IIT Bombay, and then you did it in BITS, Goa. The winter school this year was amazing as well. How have you felt, with this progression from the India side to now the global side?
Yeah, the thank you. The global side has just kicked off. It's been about 4 months, 4 to 5 months now. But what I like was that, like, when I joined Aptos about 2.5 years ago, I joined to lead growth for India, and the best part was, there were no strict guidelines or paths essentially to lead that growth. I had full autonomy, and in my mind, by that time, I've essentially seen some of these ecosystem enter the Indian region, and some learnings from that. So in my mind, I was like, hey, how do I apply this um, and create true value rather than just rush and do things and not be sustainable over a long period of time. So the autonomy and focus on value really helped us.
Yeah.
And one thing that I am very appreciative of the Aptos team is that they truly understand that expanding and growing a region is not a 3 6 month game. You need to spend 3 to 5 years to make real change happen. And if you see our progression from the first year to second, this is the third IBW we are at.
Yeah.
We have continued to invest more each year in the region, and next year is going to be much bigger.
Yeah,
So
there are like
I'm
15 teams here right now. So for context, we're at the Aptos zone at IBW. There are 15 teams here. I was here last year at the Aptos zone. I think there were eight, so like double now. I do have this hot take. I think every ecosystem thinks about investing into India. They need a really focused and dedicated India lead to actually see the ROI. Like if you make the wrong hire, then you're essentially like, you're done for, because if they end up doing like random things, you won't see ROI, and then you will not invest into India at all, or you stop investing into India. What was like your number one takeaway from all this India expansion stuff that you did? Why has Aptos been so successful from your guys?
like you mentioned this about, like, focus is clearly the most important thing. For us, we were able to very early on see that expecting DeFi builders from India is going to be extremely difficult. There is a lot of volume of young developers very hungry, looking to build, but again, the chances of success there are very, very low. A lot of times what I've seen other ecosystems do is burn all their firepower on some of these things, because these things do generate impressions,
Yes.
but they don't generate on-chain economy to a large extent. And we early on decided that India, like, the startup ecosystem in India over the last 20 plus years, has matured the thinking of a lot of founders to be product first, to be distribution first. But a lot of founders who were building in crypto, and the new crowd that is looking to build in crypto, they lack those aspects. They don't know how to grow, like what your distribution is, and they don't know product. For them, they think that if I build it, people will come.
Yes.
So we were very clear and started to invest in founders who have this strong sense of product and distribution. And some of the bets that we've made, turned out to be really well now over the years. But you see a pattern in a lot of our investments in India.
Yeah.
It's a clear thesis. Like look at Santa browser, product first, completely abstracted application, 35K DAs right now, building for the last 6-8 months, going to scale now. Flick again, product first, very clear. We have Stan, we have Cajun. So this thesis has helped us. And another aspect was a lot of times founders want to be like ecosystem want to be very opportunistic.
Yes.
In the region, they just want to do BD, get a couple of investments.
Yeah.
But that doesn't truly build an ecosystem.
Mhm.
These founders need to know that you are here, you're invested for the longer term. So we started to do a lot of other things. So here's how we sort of divided, our approach.
Mhm.
One was very early stage, young builders, lot of passion.
Yeah.
How do we, engage these guys? Established founders, clear focus on product and growth. Then bigger enterprises that can sort of showcase our scale, that Aptos can handle. And then how do we impact public infrastructure that the government is looking to build.
Yeah.
This is one of my personal passions.
Yeah. I think
being
we're
from
both
India.
very patriotic that way. Like,
Yeah.
like I think blockchain as a technology is so advanced, and the NPCI guys were here as well at the conference. I think the way that the space is evolving is beautiful to see, and I hope I'm part of that structure where if the government's doing something, I want to be part of that, and I know you replicate that feeling as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity where you can create a massive impact in public infrastructure. So I'm always pushing for that.
Yeah.
Although these are some of the most difficult sales cycles, you spend like months and months and months to make it happen. But it's just fun, man.
But yeah, so Naresh, so I've actually been writing like an article. Like I researched a lot about, because that's my job, right? Like I've been looking into your guys' strategy a lot. The beautiful thing that I love, that you guys do, that other ecosystems might not do. If they think about investing into India, they'll probably just come to IBW. They'll just do one big activation and that's it, right? The way that the Aptos campaign this year at least has been structured, it was, first you had the accelerator stuff. It was like online. You worked it out. You picked the teams that you really wanted to work with. And then, I saw you go to every city. You were with Crypto Addy. You did the whole Shark Tank thing. I thought the photos were amazing there. That you looked like super awesome. Then you gave these teams a platform for them to understand fundraising and understand how these deal cycles work. And a lot of teams got funding from that. After that, there was Winter School where the team was able to interact with the team IRL. And then to top it off, IBW was the place where they now get visibility through all these stalls. They get like massive footfall, they get like initial users, they get everything that they need. Was this like tailored? Like, was this planned out in terms of, okay, we want to do this step by step, or was it sort of just put together?
This was, tailored. We knew this December last year that this is what we want to do. I have some selfish reasons where because of how patriotic I am about India, I try to bring my leadership each time to India and showcase them the
Every time I talk to Avery about this, he's like really happy to come to India. He's like,
yeah.
wait, have you taken Avery to try like Indian food in Bangalore?
He loves it.
Yeah, like dosa and stuff.
Those onion rava masala dosa is his favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, he is very particular about the.
Did you take him to Meghna Biryani?
He's had Meghna biryani.
Okay. What do you think of that?
He took it. So we served him, and then he took seconds.
Okay.
I think he liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know if his stomach liked it.
You know what's wild? KG actually hated it. Like the first day I took him, he's like, "This is horrible." And he's from Hyderabad. I mean, you're from Hyderabad as well. But I lived in Hyderabad too for like 2 years. I thought it was pretty good.
Like someone from Hyderabad, you've tasted biryani that's a lot more flavorful.
Yeah.
The closest match to that would be, let's say, Meghna biryani.
Probably.
Everything else sucks. But like Meghna biryani also has a little bit more spice.
Yeah.
Whereas Hyderabad biryani is a lot more.
I feel like Meghna Biryani should just sponsor me at this point. Like, that's
yeah.
biryani.
But-
I've been eating Meghna Biryani both days for the past 2 days. Okay, but Naresh, okay. Coming back to like India strategy. This year, since you've expanded, your role to more of a global focus. You hired Sri Lakshmi, Ayushya was always there. I think a lot of teams struggle, as we said, if you don't hire the right person, you lack the ROI and then you stop investing into the region. What was the thought process behind hiring someone like Sri Lakshmi? Was it like a JD or did you know her already? What's like advice that you would have for someone to hire an India lead?
I think hiring is one of the most difficult things that you can do. And particularly when I'm so attached to the ecosystem, I've built it myself ground up.
Was it hard to let it go and scale up?
Not really,
No,
not
okay.
really. I think it would have depended a lot on the person that I'm
Yeah.
trying to hire. Um, this year everything was planned. We were doing the accelerator piece and with Hatched Emergent.
Yeah.
And Sri Lakshmi was the point of contact or essentially program managing this from a Hatched Emergent standpoint.
Okay.
So we spent about 3 to 4 months working on this. Planning this and then executing this. I used to throw some wild ideas.
Yeah.
But there was always this like need or urge to execute.
Yeah.
Even if the idea sounds wild, rather than being very defensive and sort of just look at what is in the scope.
Yeah.
Like for example, we had no idea that we are going to go to these 4 cities and record these shows.
Yeah.
When we initially thought about
What did your
Accelerator.
family think of those shows? Like, I'm pretty sure they must have seen the photos and everything.
They think that I am some celebrity and I'm in TV and
Oh, you are. I mean,
I'm
you
like,
are?
no guys, I'm just on these internet and fleeting videos that don't really matter much, but my family feels good about
Yeah.
it. Yeah. They ask me now that why aren't you doing more videos? So I think
Yeah.
this is going
This is the
to
start. I think we need to see. I think we need to bring you on the show more often. Like, I would love to cover the Aptos ecosystem more. We create more ecosystem marketing content together. I think we awesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Naresh, okay, sorry to I thought the family question was interesting. But
Yeah.
coming back to like Sri Lakshmi, like okay,
Yeah.
you worked with her at Hash. Was there like an interview process? Or is that like what
There-
you'd recommend?
Yeah.
Like someone work with an agency or someone like a Hash emergent and
Hmm.
then try to hire that.
So I think my um, we needed to hire someone who was extremely diligent,
Mhm.
who was because there are a lot of moving pieces. The whole you mapped out the
Yeah.
year. It's not too easy to execute because we don't have 20 people here in
Yes.
India. We are a small lean team, so you need someone who is extremely diligent, hardworking. You need someone that is extremely personable because we have so many partners that work with us and
Yes.
so many ecosystem projects. So there are some traits that I knew,
Yes.
and there was there was an internal JD of sorts.
Yeah.
We didn't have a JD per se, but during this time, I was also the team wanted me to sort of look at more markets, start thinking about
Yeah.
how to transition out, and it was this time when Sri Lakshmi and I were also working very closely, 3-4 months together, and I just knew that hey, this is the right person.
Yeah.
She has all the qualities that we want, and this would also do is take away a lot of debt that I have personally built
Yes.
over 2 years, and we sort of set up new processes. But this energy it will help us a lot. And now, if you see, post that accelerator, once she joined, she executed winter school
Mhm.
amazingly well. We have an amazing IBW.
No, Sri Lakshmi
presence.
is awesome. Like
Yeah.
everyone in the I've never heard anything bad about Sri Lakshmi. I've
Yeah.
heard amazing things.
Yeah.
I hang out with her a lot. We do a lot of cool stuff together in Delhi.
Yeah.
She's awesome. So
Yeah.
very congratulations on that hire.
We are very, very, very lucky. I have I don't think I can show that gratitude how lucky
Yeah.
we are to have.
No, I understand
Yeah.
because my team like Smith and Love are both killers.
Yeah.
As much as I show them a little Indian manager love.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. On the topic of Nilavo and Smith, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to transition the conversation towards a more, the global stuff that you're doing now.
Yeah.
We were in Portugal. Okay,
Yeah.
we were in we were in Lisbon, and then obviously Vasco da Gama came from Portugal to Goa, and he was the first person to discover India. Smith randomly he just said, like Vasco da Gama was the head of global expansion for Portugal. And I was, yeah, like,
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good take.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple of glasses of wine. I just laughed for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was hilarious. But when you guys think about global expansion, what are the things that you guys focus on?
So like the underlying thesis is that what we've learned from India, that depth in a market is going to reward you over time.
Mhm.
And now the goal is how do we replicate this in other markets? So there are a few, pretty obvious things like, what are the markets you go after? How do you sort of structure this model around? But like what we are trying to essentially do is right now over the last, 3 to 4 months, ever since I'm in this role, we're sort of experimenting with different models that could work.
Is it a lot of data finding, and is it like data driven, or is it more like hit and trial? Like we've done a lot of user feedback. What's like the thesis there in terms of choosing regions?
I think choosing regions is a lot data driven.
Okay.
The mindset that we have is that there are regions where we have sort of tiered regions in like two tiers.
Mhm.
Regions where you have increasing concentration of founders and capital, or capital, not
Okay.
and, is a region where you need to go really deep.
Mhm.
And the investments here are going to be slightly more higher.
Yes.
And then so will be the potential impact. And then the second region is where there is a lot of consumer growth, there is a lot of general crypto adoption, but you still lack, you know, founder or capital concentration. I can like give examples for these, but this is essentially how um, we have started to think about this, and this is also after a lot of like data and then a lot of hit and
Can you
trial.
give some examples of these regions? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
A region that's like founder led or like capital led.
Yeah. So I think like founder or capital, I think India is great example of founders. Amazing founders.
Yes.
Okay, lack of capital is there, but it fits the bill.
Mhm.
I think China is a great example. Good founders, good capital.
Mhm.
And For regions where you have more consumer adoption, you still have founders, but it's not as concentrated. You need to be a little bit more picky and opportunistic. I think Nigeria is shaping up really well. Indonesia is shaping up really well. Vietnam is shaping up really well. So now, once you have this, and this bifurcation is through a lot of data.
Okay.
Is through talking to a lot of different teams, different chains, local ecosystem.
Yeah.
So we've spent about 2 weeks in each region talking to like who's and who of each region, from a founder to a community member to someone who runs community to a VC, and we're trying to understand what is unique about each region. Like the insight we had in India about betting on founders who know product and growth really helped us.
Yes.
But this might not be the same case for every other market. So a market like China, they're very, very, very good on innovating with DeFi.
Yes.
They're just natural. They're very good. They're very good at DeFi growth. They know how to drive TVL, how to drive interest, how to drive token markets. Whereas an Indian founder has a completely different mindset. So a lot of research, quantitatively, understanding a lot of data qualitatively, like we are able to understand what is actually happening in that region, and then spending time in that region has helped us sort of bifurcate this. Again, this will also evolve as
Yeah.
we start experimenting into
The number
these
one thing I've
markets.
learned about my job is that there is no consistent JD.
Yeah.
And that things will change all the time.
Absolutely.
And that maybe one time one region is more important. But the one thing that I've learned entirely is you just don't focus on a region when there's a conference in that region. You need like year-long presence. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like for example, like Korea is one of the biggest examples of this. Like
Yeah.
you need to have a consistent Korea program. You need to be there with the people, and you need to create campaigns that people want to interact with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Naresh, I have like a very interesting question. Okay, so I struggle with this a lot. In terms of like whenever we create content for like Wormhole India, let's say,
Yeah.
there's always like this line that you have to sort of maintain in terms of like where it is. How do you maintain the line with your team? Like I'm obviously like you give crazy ideas, they give crazy ideas.
Yeah,
What's like the
yeah,
approval
yeah.
process for that stuff?
It's I think like marketing. I feel we should not overthink.
Okay.
You'll just go down the hill if you start overthinking it. So you should just let those ideas go. And if I remember something going out of almost India that a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah.
I was okay with it. And then few days later, people forget. So until and unless it's like the like you're not selling something, you're not scamming people, it's not an SFW. I think
Yes.
you're good.
Yeah. The policy we have is if someone calls it out, you just delete it immediately and you say sorry. Like, it's fine.
Best
It's
that
fine.
apologizing best.
Yeah.
Rather than overthinking that, am I making a mistake?
Yeah.
Just apologize later.
Do you have any thoughts on okay, so this is okay for an Indian context because we're both Indian, we can understand that. Let's say for something like China or Indonesia where you don't speak the native language, how do you find the right person to lead that region or be proactive in that region?
This is we're this is something that we are also learning on the go. For example, we just opened up the Dev Connect essentially was our kickoff for Argentina, Brazil.
Okay.
Trying to deeply understand that region. We have a a 6 to 8 month plan on what we want to do that is a lot more nailed down. And then we have budgeted that for, let's say, a year from now, or 2 years from now. So right now, like, because I don't understand Spanish, it does become a little bit challenging to sort of review each word. And like,
Yeah.
there are multiple people also that are reviewing, but I think it's also the trust that you need to show to the partner or the hire,
Yeah.
that you like, if you're able to show that trust, I think over a period of time you can start worrying less about, hey, does this content look good,
Yeah.
or does this campaign make sense, because they have a lot more insight about the market than we do. And we
I
just
think when I started off doing this job, for me personally, I used to over-index on that. I used to think that maybe I could fit into the culture as well. So I remember when we were doing Korean GTM, I ended up asking my agency to send me like some YouTube shorts so that my algorithm would then become Korean. And then it was like the weirdest content ever because it wasn't
Amazing.
relevant to them. I was just watching like random things and they're like, Rachit, no, it's not what you do. But
Yeah.
then when Nilahu came in, he just took care of everything. It became a more trusted system where we let the agency do what they
Yeah.
wanted to do. I think that's something that, when we don't understand something,
Yeah.
it's a lot harder to do. But it's something that, people like us or people who are trying to get into this position should understand
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do from day one.
I think like there's also some broader guidelines you can set. Like, we talked about these NSF. These are more like things you don't post, but there could be broader guidelines on what are some things that essentially work because we are just humans.
Yeah.
Like anything that would evoke emotion is going to evoke emotion
Yeah.
potentially the same way. So a person winning, people generally are going to feel happy about it. So, what we've done is we have, over a period of last 3 4 months, started to identify these traits, and these become anchors, which allow you to stay grounded while you can still, experiment a little bit here and there. And if it sticks, then you know that, hey, this is something that works too,
Yeah.
which could be used as a playbook for someone else.
That's awesome. Nish, I think I've been bugging you for like the past. I don't know what time it is, but I think we've been over like 30, 40 minutes at this
I
point.
have no clue, man.
But
It's a great conversation.
But Raj, okay, let's close this off. We typically ask this question at the last. It's more of a clickbait question. But what's your number one advice to anyone who's trying to be a global expansion lead today? Or
Anyone who's trying to be a global expansion lead, I think you number one advice would be, you need to get, like, if you need to have your story sorted, because when you have a lot of regions in the mix, there are several moving pieces. You need to be very concise about what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and then tell that story internally and externally.
Yeah.
So if you're able to, craft that well, I think you'll
Yeah.
anybody's going to win that.
I think one thing to call out there is that, as Naresh mentioned, there was a lot of hit and trial in terms of India strategy. We tried what works and what didn't work, but there was always an overarching goal. Okay, this is what we're trying to do in this region. I think as a global expansion lead, that's your number one goal, to understand what you're trying to do, and then your team or your agency will try to strive for that. All right, Naresh, this has been like 5 months coming. I'm very, very happy to have this finally recorded. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Rachit. This was great.
Awesome.
And, can't wait for when this goes live.
Yeah. All right.